The is the MCU dead debate has been one I'm a little mixed on over the years because, kinda. If you ask me, post Endgame Marvel has really struggled to have an overall structure, and the fact that we're about to go into our next Infinity War level movie with an Avengers lineup we don't even know yet and a villain we have never seen before is just the worst idea. But at the same time, I'm not gonna stand here and act like Marvel hasn't put out a single good or hell, even great project in Phase 4 and 5. Hell, I'd say their best movie is in Phase 5. I mean, No Way Home was a lot of fun, Werewolf by Night is super underrated, Loki is just incredible, and now Thunderbolts is basically the embodiment of individual goods among an overall mess. Quite literally, a movie made up of characters who were thrown to the silence in other movies. And yes, unsurprisingly, this movie kinda rocked. I know we all expected that from the trailers, but this is actually kind of one of their best movies. From a technical aspect, I would say this joins the ranks of Iron Man, Guardians, Black Panther, and Multiverse of Madness as being a Marvel movie that has direction. I'm very used to these movies being a static camera with an uninspired, bland look to it, but I really dug the filmmaking of this one. The action has a lot of personality to it. I like the initial fight, where the gimmick is that they're all trying to kill one specific person. I'm very surprised they let Florence Pugh actually jump off a building, and the fight scene at the tower has a one-shot fight scene. That's fucking rad. The camera constantly moves, and not even in a handheld way, it moves with purpose. If a character or object is being flung around in a fight scene, you're gonna go with them. The camera moved so much that one conversation has too much shaky cam, which is a very new problem for the MCU. I also like how this movie has a great color palette, but still looks good. They intended for that and knew how to make it work? What? There's even intentional lighting? You're fucking with me. The design of the main villain is kind of risky, and I think they executed it perfectly. Even thought the score was pretty good. I think the payoff to all this creativity is that the editing is downright atrocious. Conversations are cut so weirdly. They never cut at the right time or angle. Shot continuity is practically non-existent. And I don't want to be that film bro, but they broke the 180-degree rule in one scene. I know most people don't care about this stuff, but I do, sorry. But by far the thing that surprised me the most is how good the main characters in this movie are handled. I liked most of these guys going in, but it's not like they have automatic chemistry, and you can't really force them to be friends without being written in a really annoying way. But they actually made it work. Florence Pugh as Yelena is obviously one of the best new Marvel characters, but as for the rest, Wyatt Russell just plays John Walker in the most perfect way, where he's cocky and annoying, but not in a hateable way. Ghost was a character I never really cared for, and she isn't the most unique in this one either, but she was pretty funny, and I think that the core trio was the one that worked the most for me. Red Guardian was a character I previously found super annoying and did not like, and they actually fixed him here. Bob from Top Gun 2 is here as Bob, and he was just perfect. He hit every beat, very funny and appropriately depressing, and his chemistry with Yelena somehow didn't feel forced. I'll say that Bucky was kind of tacked on though. I do admittedly think that Sebastian Stan is just too good for Marvel now after his two phenomenal performances last year, but also Bucky was clearly only in this movie to be the face that sells tickets, and he never really felt like a member of the family. And yes, this team does feel like a family by the end. A lot more than the Avengers did. Do half the Avengers ever speak to each other? Do they like each other? Because the Thunderbolts definitely do. I actually think the ending of this movie where the asterisk comes into play is pretty deserved. These guys really won me over. It's an ending I saw coming and didn't want, and now I'm like, hell yeah, give me more of these guys. There's a scene where they're all saving people. What superheroes should do, and it's so sweet because they finally feel like a team. They literally save the day with the power of friendship, and it fucking works. On a meta level, I thought it was super heartwarming. The theme of this movie is essentially dealing with loneliness, depression, and trauma, and man, when was the last time one of these movies executed its themes this well? I love that this is basically the suicidal Avengers, the representation I want. Seeing them all cope with their past by embracing each other just works. This movie does have its generic aspects. Julia Louis-Dreyfus is very fun, but her psychic, who actually is very plot relevant, just did not have enough characterization. A lot of easy jokes that I'm sure will be less funny on repeat viewings, especially at home. And they do kinda force the oh my god, we're a team now with Red Guardian, but honestly, all the little annoyances are overshadowed by just how much fun I had. It sucks that these guys will be in Doomsday for 5 minutes, written by someone else and directed by the fucking Russos, because I really want to see them again, which I did not think I would say before seeing it. With this and Fantastic Four, at least Kevin's doing a nice little song and dance before Doomsday faceplants onto upcoming traffic. 8 out of 10, more of this please. I also watched that new Star Wars show. I didn't like it very much. The Tales series has been pretty disappointing so far. I wasn't looking forward to this one, and I sure as shit won't be looking forward to the next one, whatever they do next year, because they will do another one. I'm not even against new Clone Wars adjacent shows. I actually think we should let Dave Filoni make constant new animated Clone Wars sequels so he can play with his OCs there instead of theatrical live action movies. But these barely count as shows. 6 episodes with 15-minute runtimes to tell 2 separate stories has yet to work once. At best, these shows have a solid foundation for a story that could be a lot more interesting if it had more time to develop everything. The first half of this edition focused on Asajj Ventress, and to be honest, it was so bad it actually pissed me off. I haven't even read Dark Disciple, but it cannot be worth bringing this character back to life to tell such a worthless story. The way she comes back to life is honestly more bullshit than what happens to Ahsoka or even Sabine, and they use this absolute dumbass excuse to tell the most generic Star Wars story I've ever seen. A Force user has to hide from the Empire. They meet someone that they don't like at first because they're convinced they're better off alone. Along the journey, they defeat a new random Inquisitor. The 2 characters bicker a bunch because one keeps to themselves and the other believes in friendship. The other character gets in trouble and our main character has to save them despite supposedly not caring. And by the end, their cold demeanor is broken and they call them their friend. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Did ChatGPT write this? This is just every Star Wars trope we've seen a billion times, but this time they have 3 short episodes to rush through all of it. To give this story to Asajj of all characters, a character who used to be conceptually very interesting, is honestly so fucking insulting. To make matters worse, her friend's voice actor also just sounds so uninterested. He's giving one of the worst Star Wars vocal performances I've ever heard. And how is this about the Underworld? Ventress isn't bounty hunting, she's not even morally ambiguous. It's literally every post-Order 66 Jedi story, so why is it in this show? When episode 3 ended, I was genuinely questioning if there was even a point to keep watching this stuff after Andor ends, but to be honest, the Cad Bane stuff was admittedly a lot better. He's also a character Filoni is maybe kind of annoyed by, but this was a story that kind of worked. It's the first one since the Dooku ones, which by the way are definitely the best arc in all 3 shows, to incorporate both a story that takes place across 3 separate points in time with a story that actually continues across all 3 episodes. It was interesting seeing his upbringing, it was interesting seeing him as a teenager whose voice is still developing, and it was interesting watching the final episode knowing the thing you're rooting against is obviously going to happen. It was functional, which is something, but man, I wish it had more than 45 minutes to tell a story. We never see how the childhood experiences of Bane or his friend have affected their worldviews as adults. The first episode only exists to show us that they were friends. This is what I mean when I say that at its best, these shows provide a good first draft for a potentially interesting story. You actually kind of hooked me, but we still have to rush to tell the story because we don't have time to waste. If they realize their structure just isn't made for this kind of storytelling, and either start telling less ambitious, smaller scale, character-driven stories, or either double the episode number, the episode runtimes, or make it so that the season only focuses on one character, then maybe it might work. But as it stands, the Bane stuff was passable, and the Ventress stuff was so generic it made me mad. I think the first 3 episodes are like a 3 or a 4, and the last 3 are like a 6, so I don't know, 5 out of 10. Less of this, please.